Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today's the 19th of August, 2021. Alright everyone, let's get into it. So, more drama in the uni governance world. So, Dune Analytics has posted a PSA on Twitter just a few hours ago saying a Uniswap governance proposal that will let Flipside Crypto, which is a data analytics firm, manage up to $25 million in uni tokens and use the yield generated to fund their own operations is about to pass in less than 24 hours with almost zero community attention. Now, you can see the proposal here. Before, I guess I was looking at it before and it was actually, there was only 10 million votes against and 41 million votes for. So it's obviously very heavily lopsided there. And then DCInvestor kind of like, I guess, like tipped the vote over because he voted no with the uni tokens that he has delegated to himself. But essentially, he puts it really well in his tweet thread here where he says, the growing precedent of using the uni treasury for large cash grabs to support pet causes, often benefiting narrow groups of actors, is bad. It's very bad. Not sure what we can do when some of the largest token holders support this. And I mean, I'm of the same opinion, right? Because uni governance right now seems very, very centralized, where there's only a handful of people and groups that kind of like have the majority of the voting power, and they seem to be voting for things that directly benefit themselves or benefit their friends or kind of like anything like that. We saw these play out a few weeks ago with the legal fund that got, $10 million of the uni tokens, dumped it on the market, and were able to kind of like get $10 million in cash. And it kind of felt like they just looted the treasury with like little oversight here. And that's exactly what this feels like as well to me. I mean, in general, it just feels like people are looking at Uniswap's treasury and they're like, okay, well, there's billions of dollars worth of uni tokens in here. And, how do we kind of like get the voting power to essentially help us loot the treasury at the end of the day? Now, I'm not going to attribute any ill will to Flipside Crypto here. I'm friends with some of the people that kind of like work there and everything like that. But at the same time, this just seems ridiculous, right? Giving one kind of platform, I guess, like the ability to manage $25 million in uni tokens in order to kind of like fund their operations or whatever. It just, and with kind of like little oversight. I mean, they've got their little oversight committee here, but on their oversight committee, they have like the CEO of Flipside. So it's just kind of like weird. It's like, that's a conflict of interest right there. Like, and they have other people here, Nick Carter and Boris Stanek. I think, yeah, that's Nick Carter, the Bitcoiner. I don't know who Boris is. I think he's part of Uniswap. But Nick Carter being on here again, kind of weird, right? Like he's definitely not an Ethereum or a Uniswapper. He's definitely like a hardcore Bitcoiner. But I guess the most weird to me was Dave Bolter, the CEO of Flipside, being on this oversight committee. And yeah, it just seems like I guess really weird to see this proposal, kind of like passing without like much fanfare at all. I mean, I didn't even hear about this. So it really does seem like these proposals are put forward, they're voted on by a small group of people, and they hope that no one notices before it kind of like passes, and then they're able to just loot the treasury, which is really crappy. So yeah, I mean, I'm in total agreement with DC here that this is just really, really bad. And as he said, they're often these proposals are made by actors who will benefit from them directly and all that sort of stuff there. There's a few comments in here as well, kind of like talking about different things. I'll let you read through the thread for yourselves. And there was someone actually sticking up for Flipside Crypto, and I'll read out the comment here because this is like taking the other side of it, where they said, is it better to raise capital from VCs the old way and charge for the premium version of the product? You have a conflict of interest, you being Dune Analytics. Flipside is free and puts a lot of resources to these grants while empowering low-income users with bounties. So essentially what this account, When Moon, is saying is basically that Dune Analytics and Flipside Crypto are definitely kind of like competitors, right? They offer similar services and they're competing for customers and all that sort of stuff. So kind of like when Moon is saying you have a conflict of interest here, basically a pretty huge one, because of the fact that you've taken money from like VCs and you charge a premium version for your product, whereas Flipside's trying to fund themselves through, I guess, this kind of like treasury, I guess, just getting money from the treasury. And Dune Analytics responded to that and said Dune is first and foremost free and focused on community users. There's a competitive market for service providers that prove that they can get both funding, tokens or VC, and revenue. There is no need for uni holders to massively subsidize specific service providers. And I mean, I do agree with that. I kind of find it weird that you're basically putting the costs of, I guess like Flipside is basically putting the cost of running their operation onto uni token holders and uni governance participants or whatever. And that just seems really weird to me. The connection doesn't seem like it's there for me. Maybe I'm missing something, but yeah, just definitely very weird. So this is unfortunate. Vitalik had a really great blog post the other day about governance and how coin voting governance is like completely overrated, and we should move towards something like quadratic voting and things like that. You can go read his blog post. It's on his blog. If you just search Vitalik, or just go to, I think, vitalik.ca, his blog post is there. But essentially, we need something better. This is not working. All the DeFi apps suffer from this sort of stuff, like voter apathy. I guess a small group of people holding the majority of the tokens or holding the majority of the voting power, just voting on what they think is best for themselves and kind of like enriching themselves. And that's obviously not what we want DeFi to become. And at the end of the day, governance tokens hold a lot of power. There's a meme, governance tokens aren't worth anything. Well, I mean, if you can use those governance tokens to loot a treasury, they're worth a hell of a lot at the end of the day, right? And you don't even have to hold them for the whole period. You could just buy some tokens or even borrow them and then vote on something, and then kind of like take some money or make some money from the treasuries or whatever you're voting on, and then kind of like sell off the tokens or whatever. So yeah, definitely kind of like going to keep tabs on this. As I said, it only happened a few hours ago. I'm going to see how it plays out, but probably I'll cover it tomorrow and see what the end result was here. So Metamask is now rolling out EIP 1559 support to all users. So if you haven't seen the update yet, you may have to force an update on your Metamask, or maybe it just hasn't rolled out to you just yet. But essentially, this is really great to see. I mean, I've been monitoring the chart of kind of like 1559 style transactions on the network. I think it's at like 45% right now, or around about that, and it's going up really quickly. And especially as Metamask rolls out more support here, it's going to continue to do that. And then once Ledger rolls out support for it as well, it'll just get even more. I don't think we're going to get to like 100% of transactions on the network being 1559 style, because there's always going to be like those laggards. There's going to be wallets that don't support it, or there's going to be people using kind of like all manner of wallets that just take forever to support it, or kind of like just do weird things. So I think we can get to 80-90% in a relatively short period of time, which would be really awesome, because that'll just help the network out. But generally, I've been seeing people say, did 1559 really help out the network and kind of like stabilize gas fees? And it has. Like all the data I've seen has showed that the network fees are actually like much more stable than they used to be, and the volatile periods end much quicker than they used to. If you will have noticed during NFT drops, the volatile periods don't last very long at all. It's like inside of an hour. And then kind of like the mempool gets cleared very quickly, and then we're back to kind of like normal, I guess, like regular Gwei prices there. So yeah. Definitely force update Metamask if you haven't yet. You can do that by going to your extensions in Chrome or wherever else and just clicking update now, and it should update it for you. But it should have rolled out automatically anyway. So yeah, just cool to see 1559 finally rolling out to all Metamask users. But speaking of wallets, I put out a tweet today where I said the crypto wallet landscape is going to look completely different in 6 to 12 months time, and I really do believe this. And I wrote a bit more about this in the newsletter today. But essentially, I followed up this tweet by saying there's more, and the reason why I believe this is because there's more competition in the wallet space because these days, because people have realized that wallets can print revenue if designed properly, even without a token. So for example, MetaMask is making a killing just from their swap feature right now. So they have a swap feature inbuilt into MetaMask called that acts as like a decentralized exchange aggregator that essentially looks for the best price, and then they tack their own fee on top of that, which is actually quite hefty. It's like 0.8%, but the convenience to users outweighs the fee, it seems, and they're making $10 million a month right now in revenue. And they were making nothing just a little while ago. So they've essentially managed to monetize their huge user base in such a brilliant way. And this is just one way they monetize. They also have the institutional arm right now. And the Scoop from The Block has a podcast talking to the people working on the MetaMask institutional arm, if you want to go listen to that, which kind of explains in detail about what they're doing there. But essentially, they're just making so much money now. And I think other wallets, kind of like teams have seen this, especially on the browser extension side. There's Phantom, which currently supports Solana, but is going to be supporting Ethereum soon. There's another one that was announced by Matt Luongo today, which I'll go through in a sec. And then the mobile wallet space is heating up. As I've mentioned Rainbow a fair few times on the Refuel. There's Argent, Dharma. I mean, there's so many good kind of wallets out there. And I also think that wallets need to evolve because the modern Ethereum user has different requirements to an Ethereum user from like 2 to 3 years ago. So even like 1.5 years ago or 18 months ago, the requirements are vastly different. I want my wallet, whether it be an extension wallet, a mobile wallet, whatever it is, I want my wallet to be able to show me my NFTs, right? The wallet software to show me my NFTs in each of my Ethereum addresses. I want to be able to access DeFi natively from in here. Even if they tack on a fee, I think that that's fine. A lot of users are fine, kind of like would be fine paying that fee. But essentially, I want all those features. I want social recovery features, which is where smart contract wallets come into play. And I want kind of like wallets that I can use on my mobile that I can connect to desktop through WalletConnect. I want it to be snappy and smooth. I don't want it to be clunky. I want it to be secure as well. And I want it to be ubiquitous everywhere. That's the modern Ethereum user these days. Like we do not just want to send normal transactions anymore. There's so many other things to do on Ethereum, so wallets now have to keep up. And as I said, the competition is going to heat up really, really quickly now, and I expect the landscape to look completely different in 6 to 12 months time. I've already started using other wallets more often now than Metamask, even if I'm at my PC, because I'm trying to wean myself off Metamask. Like I appreciate all the work that the Metamask team has done in the past. They've onboarded more users into Ethereum than any other wallet by far. But at the same time, they're falling behind now. They don't innovate very much on kind of like their wallet side of things. They're very slow to roll anything out. They definitely feel. I mean, it definitely feels like MetaMask hasn't changed in all the years that I've used it, right? Even though there's been like a couple of major upgrades, it still feels the same. Like I can't do any of the stuff that I mentioned to you. So the way I view MetaMask is just like this ultra reliable wallet that doesn't have many features, but I can rely on it for anything. It'll let me do like what in terms of like doing normal transactions, it'll let me do that. But at the same time, I'm starting to use mobile wallets more, trying to get used to that. I'm looking forward to testing out the other extension wallets as I spoke about, like Phantom and this other one from Matt Luongo here called Tally. But yeah, essentially, I think it's going to look completely different in 6 to 12 months because new users are probably going to come in. They'll use MetaMask, but they're probably going to come in via mobile as well. So the mobile wallets are going to start dominating a lot more. And I think smart contract wallets are really going to come into their own once we have layer 2s, because right now to set up a smart contract wallet on Ethereum layer 1 costs a lot. It's like hundreds of dollars worth of fees. So on layer 2, that's going to obviously be orders of magnitude cheaper. So I expect to see more adoption happening there. So yeah, and on the wallet note as well, Matt Luongo from Thesis here today put out a tweet thread where he even kind of like called out MetaMask and say that I guess on August 20th it will mark the 1 year anniversary of MetaMask stepping away from free and open source licensing because they went the institutional route. And since then, MetaMask has launched their swap feature and in wallet trading service where they've generated $10 million a month in just fees alone. And then he goes on to say that they've put together a small team to ship a wallet that's built for a new open internet. That means a wallet ecosystem that is fairly launched, sustainably aligned with users, wholly owned and governed by the community. And you can see here, the wallet is called Tally, and you can see like teaser images. So Tally, it's basically a dog kind of like for their branding here, dog icon. And then you can see on the right-hand side, native DeFi integration, right? Where you can just deposit USDC or deposit ETH into kind of like Aave, for example, and start generating rewards or yield. And then you can see they even support Arbitrum as well, like a layer 2 direct support within MetaMask, and it looks really, really cool. It looks beautiful. It tells you the assets on Arbitrum. It's much more, it's much easier. It gives you much more information about, I guess, what's happening. And you can see it on the bottom. There's different little tabs as well, where obviously, like just judging based on the tabs on the left side, you have like what looks like an app store, an app or a DApp explorer. Secondly, you have a wallet. Third looks like a swap feature. Fourth, earn being the DeFi stuff, and then you have like the 3 hamburger menu kind of thing on the right, which is obviously the settings. So kind of like from that perspective, this already looks better than MetaMask, right? Like, so I'm really looking forward to this. And as I said, there's also that Phantom wallet, but that's not supporting Ethereum just yet. And this Tally wallet isn't out yet. But as I said, the next 6 to 12 months is going to be huge. It's going to change the wallet's landscape completely, and we're going to have more competition and more innovation there, which I'm really, really looking forward to. So I'm glad this is finally coming because, as I said, as much as I love MetaMask and respect what they've done, they've been top dog for too long, and because of that, they haven't had the kind of motivation to innovate because they haven't felt like they were going to lose market share, but now they will. If they stay the way they are going to lose market share to these new entrants who are going to be adding all of these features that the modern Ethereum user is demanding. All right, so the Pyrmont ETH2 testnet has hard forked to Altair. Now, I've been talking about Altair for a little while now. This is the first major ETH2 kind of like network upgrade here. And, it hard forked successfully. There was no issues. All the clients are talking to each other. There's actually 5 clients talking to each other as well because ChainSafe's Lodestar client launched recently. And the next kind of hard fork is Prater, which is the testnet. And I think after Prater, they will go to mainnet with this. So maybe we see mainnet in the next month or so. And then after that, as I've mentioned before, we have all of the ETH2 and ETH1 kind of like developers and researchers all full steam ahead towards the merge. So this is the last thing that they have to do before the merge happens. And that's, I mean, not to say the merge hasn't been being worked on while this has been happening, but at the same time, having like everyone aligned on this one goal being the merge means that we're going to get it like much sooner than we can hope for. Because really, I mean, I've said Q1 2022 plenty of times, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, when it comes to core protocol work, whether it be at layer 1 or layer 2, giving dates is really, really hard, or kind of sticking to dates is really hard because you always run into unforeseen issues. Now, is that going to happen with the merge? Of course it will. There's going to be plenty of stuff that they're going to have to work through to make sure this goes right. And at the end of the day, the merge is the biggest upgrade in Ethereum's history by far. Like 1559 doesn't hold a candle to how big the merge is in terms of complexity, in terms of kind of like the effort needed to get everyone on board to make sure it goes smoothly, in terms of risk as well. It's all there. But I have full confidence in all of the people working on ETH1 and ETH2 that they're going to get it done. I mean, they've become really good at launching these things without kind of like critical bugs or anything like that. I mean, we launched the Beacon chain without any issues, and it was running fine for a while. And then, you know, there's been one major issue with the Prism client that was like a total edge case. And because we're a multi-client system, the Beacon chain kept going. I mean, it stopped finalizing, but it kept going, and it was all well and good. And by the time the merge comes around, I think the Beacon chain will have been live for like 18 months. So, you know, it's really great that that's been battle tested. We have the first hard fork going live on it soon as well. And we also have, ETH1 continuing to upgrade with obviously Berlin and then London. And, we might have another fork before. I think, it's guaranteed we're going to have another fork before the merge, unless the merge happens in December, because we need to delay the difficulty bomb. But we don't know if there's going to be other EIPs in that fork in December. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't expect the merge to be in December. That seems very close to me. I mean, we're almost in September right now. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen, but Q1 is optimistic for sure. I mean, I don't think Q1's optimistic. I think it's realistic. But at the end of the day, you know, it could push into Q2, so I wouldn't be surprised about that because, as I said, the merge is complex. But still, good to see the Altair fork on Pyrmont, the ETH2 testnet, go off successfully here. So, the SEC kind of like, I don't know what his title is right now. It kind of eludes me right here. But Gensler, which I think is his title as a secretary, he's basically been making noise about DeFi regulation lately and generally kind of like DeFi and like airdrops and liquidity mining. And he said something today that I think Larry Cermak tweeted out. If I go to here, I can actually find it. Did I retweet it? No, I must have just replied to it. But essentially, what Larry kind of tweeted out was that Gensler was saying that where is it? I need to get to it, because if I don't, I'm not gonna be able to. There we go. There it is. Okay. So Secretary Gensler basically said that projects that reward participants with valuable digital tokens or similar incentives could cross the line into activity that should be regulated, no matter how decentralized they say they are. So essentially, he's taking aim at liquidity mining now, which I don't really get. Like, unless these tokens are securities, then I don't really get what he's saying that they should be regulated. Like, this just screams over-regulation to me, as usual, right? From the SEC, from the US government. But essentially, he also made comments saying that DeFi projects generally aren't immune to regulation. And I kind of push back on that. And I say, if the projects are truly decentralized, then yes, they are immune. That's the entire point of DeFi. If you are not, if you can't resist regulation, if any one government or nation state around the world can compel you to do something to change your app, and you call yourself DeFi, well, you're not DeFi, right? You're literally still CeFi, because you're not decentralized at all if that can happen. And there aren't many truly decentralized projects on Ethereum today. If I had to pick just off the top of my head, Uniswap obviously is the prime example here of something that's truly decentralized, where if the US government went to Hayden or the Uniswap team and said, hey, you need to change this in your contract, or you need to kind of like blacklist people or whatever, blacklist these tokens, they can't actually do that at the contract level. They, as I've explained on the Refuel a few weeks back, they can do it at the front end level. That's fine, because that's front end centralized, at least their front end is, but they can't do it on the smart contract level. So from that perspective, truly decentralized projects cannot be regulated by any regulator. Like, you would have to take over the entire Ethereum network to actually change the code of these truly decentralized smart contracts. Now, in saying that, I think on the flip side, the Gensler's not going to be saying, oh, we can't regulate DeFi, right? Because he may know that they can't regulate some parts of DeFi or most parts of it. And he's not just going to come out and say that, but at the same time, he's signaling that the SEC is looking at this. They're looking at kind of like crypto more generally and DeFi like as a prime target here, which I think, we should be paying attention to, of course. But I also think that if they push too hard, people are going to leave the US and go elsewhere. Like, that's just as simple as that. The genie is out of the bottle here. There's no way that they're going to be able to kill DeFi or kill any kind of like, crypto stuff like over the long term. It's not going to happen. Some people draw parallels to the online poker industry in the US, where there was actually sweeping legislation, I think maybe the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s, where they put through this regulation that essentially killed the online poker industry in the US by making it illegal, I think, or making the reporting requirements just too cumbersome. And they did this on purpose. Now, with crypto and with DeFi, you can't do this, like because with like the poker stuff, like to actually participate in that, you would have to go through the fiat rails at the end of the day, right? Where essentially like all the banks and everything are not going to support you. All the kind of like financial institutions are going to block you from doing things. Whereas crypto can already be a circular economy. Yes, we need the fiat rails to obviously power it, but crypto and DeFi in general, like especially DeFi on Ethereum, we can use that in a totally circular way. Yes, it would be really bad if, the banks started cutting off people from being able to withdraw, put money into exchanges, and exchanges started cutting off people from being able to withdraw their assets to Ethereum and things like that. But at the same time, I think that there are going to be various governments around the world that are going to be friendly to crypto, and they're going to take the opposite stance of the US. So I'm going to keep an eye on this regulation happening here. These comments are definitely coming at a time where I think, I guess like crypto regulation is heating up more generally, obviously with the kind of like infrastructure bill and stuff like that. So it's definitely something to pay attention to. It's not something to be ignored, something to be taken seriously. But at the same time, I think it's like a fool's errand if you're saying that you're going to try and regulate all of DeFi. I think it's just like a signaling thing at this point in time. So DiversiFi announced today that they've moved over to StarkEx v3 and now share proofs with Sorare, which is another kind of app that's living on top of StarkEx or using Starkware's technology to scale at layer 2. And then what does this mean? They say, like a magic bag, zero knowledge proofs stay roughly the same size no matter how many transactions you put inside. So the number of transactions it goes up. So the more transactions equals less average cost. As more apps build with Starkware, the cost reduces for everyone. So this is basically sharing the load of the cost of these kind of like proofs to the Ethereum layer 1, which is, again, the magic of zero knowledge proofs, which fancy cryptography I obviously don't understand, but it works, right? And it gets a lot of people excited. And literally every smart person that I've ever spoken to has said that zero knowledge cryptography is like revolutionary, and it didn't have practical applications before, but now it does with crypto, which is just like super exciting. So great to see this from DiversiFi here. Speaking of layer 2, the graph has now integrated with Optimism. So essentially, the graph is like a middleware that sits between, the kind of like full node and the app, like a DeFi app, and essentially serves data from the full nodes through like a graph system to the DeFi front ends, or like things like Zapper and stuff like that. So, for example, when you go to Zapper, all of that data that gets put into Zapper comes from the graph. Zapper basically queries the graph for your address, obviously, and returns you all the balances and things like that. And if you go to any of your favorite DeFi apps, they're most likely using the graph to kind of like serve up that data for you and query that data for you, whether that be the current yields on different kind of farms, whether that be your current balances in them, gas fee estimation, all those sorts of things can come from the graph. So yeah, it's great to see them supporting Optimism and integrated with Optimism, because they are a core piece of infrastructure that is needed to give users the layer 1 experience at layer 2. So a proposal has been shared by Hard Labs here to bring Matic liquid staking to Polygon in collaboration with Polygon and Lido. So essentially, this is implementing Lido support on Polygon. So you'll be able to stake via Lido with your Matic tokens, and you'd be able to kind of get like a derivative of that, and you'd be able to use your staked Matic as kind of like collateral within DeFi, just like you can use your ST ETH, which is staked ETH from Lido, as collateral in DeFi, or kind of like put it into a liquidity pool, do whatever you want to earn extra rewards there. So great to see kind of this being supported here. Rainbow has released their first version of their Rainbow button, which is essentially a way to leverage the power of WalletConnect to seamlessly onboard new users to the Web3 world. So as you can see in the video here, clicking on the Rainbow kind of link, Rainbow button here, they click through to it. You click connect to Rainbow. It opens up a QR code. Using your camera, you can scan this QR code, and essentially it opens up your Rainbow wallet, as you can see here, and then you can allow your Rainbow wallet to connect to this app on desktop, and you can do all of your transactions via the mobile wallet, and then it'll you can send transactions from the desktop to your mobile wallet to sign, and then you can kind of have that extra kind of like security there, and also manage everything from your wallet app here while still getting a desktop experience. Which, again, as I said, this is part of the modern Ethereum user requirements. Like, they require this kind of seamless onboarding through things like WalletConnect, where they can have a hybrid approach of using their mobile phone as their main every kind of like day wallet, and being able to sign from it, and basically still have the desktop experience as well. So Zappa's wallet avatar customization is now live. You can change your avatar here to any NFT that you own, which is really, really cool. The fun thing is that my current profile picture, the little penguin thing that you see here, is actually an NFT. So the artist sent me an NFT of it. So my Zappa avatar is now my actual Twitter profile picture, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, and this can be changed to any NFT that you have. Obviously, not all of them make sense, but I think this is really cool because you can change it to your Cryptopunk, right? And you can have that there. You can show it off to people if you have a public address that you've changed it on, and you can essentially kind of like customize your kind of experience here and show it off to other people, which I think is like one of the whole points of NFTs, right? Like that's that kind of like a status symbol, showing it off, showing people what you've got essentially, which I think is really, really cool. And speaking of CryptoPunks, Larva Labs announced today that the CryptoPunks are now fully on-chain. The images and attributes for all the CryptoPunks are now stored in this contract on Etherscan. As you can see here, I mean, the contract's here, I'm not going to go through it, obviously, but essentially you scroll down and you're able to see like what's happening in the contract. And this means, I mean, they put out a blog post as well, but this means that even if the Larva Labs website was to go offline or kind of like disappear, you would still be able to recreate all of the punk attributes by using this contract that lives on chain, which was a main concern. There was actually a blog post that was published quite a while ago going through these concerns. I think this was in March of 2017, no, not of 2017, March 17. Maybe it wasn't a while ago then. But essentially it explained how a lot of, I guess, like all the images and kind of like things like that were hosted by Larva Labs, and if Larva Labs was to go offline, then CryptoPunks would no longer work, or essentially, I guess, like the indexing would no longer work, so you wouldn't be able to actually get the image of it. So that's really, really cool. So essentially, I'm really glad to see this because this was definitely a main worry for a lot of people, and I'm glad Larva Labs has done this, and you can verify it yourself on chain and everything like that. But I think that is it for today. So thank you everyone for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Give that video a thumbs up, subscribe to the newsletter, join the Discord channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Thanks everyone.